Thank you for staying with us. Despite hiccups from different quarters within and outside the All Progressive Congress, APC, the Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, led by Governor Mai Mala Buni, continues to get goodwill and validation. The Federal High Court, sitting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has struck out a suit challenging the competence of the Governor Buni-Led committee. The ruling delivered by Justice Fobe Ayua corroborates a Supreme Court judgment which validates the committee. Meanwhile, the National Secretary of the Caretaker Committee, Senator John Akpanudoedehe, said the Governor Buni-Led leadership of the party has the power of both the National Executive Committee, NEC, and the National Working Committee, NWC, of the APC. Babajide, with all this legitimacy quest and everything, it's obvious that, look, this convention planning committee, they're not ready to leave in a hurry. Because I thought, the initial thing I thought, convention planning committee, in 6 months, plan the convention, make sure you get a new NWC and do everything, and you leave the stage. But the way it's turning out to, after the exits of Adams Oshomole, it's not looking as if the Governor Buni committee is planning to leave in a hurry.
This, we can't even be talking about hurry now, when they've been there since 2020. What we can be saying is that even after all these months, it still seems like they are not prepared to leave. Matter of hurry is not there now because we've been there since 2020. We all anticipated that to be just 6 months.
6 months.
But you know, they've gone on and on and on and on. And yes, in fairness to the slim man from Yobe State, he's done a lot of good things. He's made the party stronger in terms of heavyweights. You cannot argue that he has not brought in more heavyweights than he inherited. You know, and when you bring in governors from states, as we have seen with what happened in Edo State, an incumbent governor, his value for money any day in an election, at least in our kind of democracy, in our kind of electoral environment.
Yes.
An incumbent governor.
Anytime.
If you say an incumbent governor win an election, you are bang on the money. So he has done very well in terms of bringing those people in and making the party stronger. Yes, they still have a lot to do in terms of resolving disputes in the party. It is those disputes that is making some people within the party to say, look, we can't go into this convention. If we go into this convention without resolving some disputes, the party will break up. This is the way people who are supporting Mai Mala Buni, this is the way they are thinking. One, they like Mai Mala Buni so much that they don't want the party to break up on his head after all the efforts that he had made. So for them, it is better Mai Mala Buni continues rather than having a convention. Now, the president has already, the party has already announced that it will have a convention. So what happens? Will the convention merely be an avenue to ratify the people who are doing the job now? That is also a possibility. I'm not a politician, and I'm not, I don't have a crystal ball.
Somehow, I don't believe that convention will take place.
Well, they are not the only one. There are many people who still think that, look, the way it's going, the fact that we can't see any sign, the fact that
the subcommittees,
the issue of conflict within the party,
very important.
As I've analyzed, even within the various subgroups in the party, the various sub-tendencies within the party, there's disagreement. And I give the example, even CPC. You will expect CPC is the most indivisible unit within the party. But there are old CPC members, even among the president's close aides and supporters, who right now are not on the same page. Some of them inside his cabinet, we are not on the same page. Whether it is Adamo or with Darazo that we are talking about, there are CPC members within the administration who are not even on the same page. So, and there are different, issues like that across the states. Some of them dating back to like 2015. Now, Malabuni set up a committee to resolve these things, and they promised they will do something, but we don't know how far they've gone. But we can see that in some states the committee didn't achieve anything. Some of the active players in the crisis even stayed away.
Like states.
Like when they went to Kwara, did you see the Minister of Information? Can you resolve the Kwara dispute without Lai Mohammed? So these are the issues. And someone like Malabuni, his biggest supporters are worried that if they go into the convention in this way, except there is an agreement to allow for consensus and other arrangement, and in that case, I'm not even surprised that the same people who opposed direct primaries, they've gone as far as goading the Senate to insert consensus into the whole arrangement. Now they are pushing that, okay, let the Senate and the House of Reps harmonize so that consensus can come in. When consensus comes in, you and I know that many times what they actually call consensus is just a division a decision that a few power people took, and they force it down the throats of other people. So if they are able to do that, when they get to convention and they say, okay, all these positions, after all, you saw PDP did it now. And these two parties have a way of copying one another. Even in removing their chairman, national chairman, they copied one another. PDP did giraffe method, copied the method that was used to chase Oshomale. So this is the thing. We still don't know the shape that convention will take.
A lot of people will say that, look, morally, that if Mayor Balawuni knows that he wants to be the chairman of APC, would have just stood for election. He used to be the secretary, but this is a sitting governor of Yobe State. I don't understand how the people of Yobe State, how they will be enjoying him, and at the same time is giving the fantastic services Jide has spoken about to the All Progressive Congress.
There's no doubt that he is there to define the interest of certain people in APC. And I think his choice was deliberate. Based on his political background, people felt this is the right person that can actually define the interest of our own caucus. And I personally believe that the delay in the convention is deliberate. If they had held the convention maybe last year and there had been crisis, it would have been easier for people to go and maybe form a third force and all that. But less than 1 year to the presidential election, even if there is post-convention crisis, it will be very difficult for a new force to emerge to contend, with the powers that be. So I think it is deliberate. But either they like it or not, that convention must hold at one point or the other. And like Babagide said, this issue of consensus, it could be a decision by a few people. And we just say, we have a consensus candidate. I think from what we are seeing, it shows that the APC, beginning from June 25, 2020, when this committee came, has not been able to resolve the internal contradictions within the party. It also shows that there is a likelihood that there will be post-convention crisis. It's almost certain. No matter whoever emerges as the chairman of the party. And it also shows that the convention is likely to determine the pendulum of the presidential election. Whoever emerges, the trend, that emerges will determine. But I'm not so certain that it will lead to a major upheaval in the party. Because are they going to join PDP few months to the presidential election? Are they going to form a new party? Where is it time to start creating structures all over the country? And of course, when you look at the APC, it's negotiating from a position of strength. So more people will still like to remain when you talk in terms of sharing of positions. So, but I also think the president needs to assert himself. He needs to provide that moral leadership, either by calling the factions together. I don't think it should be an intractable problem that cannot be resolved. But for the fact that up till now, we are seeing, there have been so many court cases, one in Port Harcourt, one in Delta, one in Abuja, So it shows that there is a big problem within the party, and I just hope the convention will be an opportunity for them to resolve it, even though it doesn't look so.
One thing Malabuni has going for him, is his colleagues that are with him.
So many of them. There are governors that you see
and
today.
Those governors are very powerful.
The governors you see today, some of them will appear like they defend social conscience at all times, that this is where they stand. But it's a lie. When push comes to shove, they see Mai Mala as one of them. They feel more comfortable with him than with people that they don't know already. And as I've said in one of our previous episodes, some of the people wanting to become chairmen now are from the National Assembly. These governors have not forgiven National Assembly members for the way they pushed aggressively for direct primaries. They believe that it was targeted at governors. No doubt about it, governors pushed them to do what they did. Because we all saw that during the congresses and all that the lawmakers were marginalized. So they were just fighting for their political future. Now, the fear is that the crisis that could happen from a rancorous convention could lead to defections into the PDP. It's too late in the day to start forming another party. We saw PDP members like Otom, like Bagudu of Kebbi, join APC as late as December 2014. Just a few months to the election. In fact, their own primaries, some of them lost out in their primaries. The next day, they joined the PDP. So history has a way of repeating itself. And when you cast your mind back to what happened pre-2019 election, the crisis in some states caused the APC to lose those states. Talking about Bauchi, talking about Adamawa, even Oyo.
Taraba.
Even Oyo. No, they couldn't have won Taraba.
No, sorry. What's this state? Zamfara.
Yes, Zamfara. Yes, So now, that kind of thing, that was even long after convention. So if they go into the convention with the crisis still very much there, their own fear is that it could lead to the implosion of the party. Remember when I interviewed our friend, the senator from Abia?
Okay. Senator
Baribe. He said, wait until they do their convention. I said, what will happen at that? He said, they wait until they do their convention. Everyone appears to have this belief that convention will make or mar the PDP, sure. I mean the APC. People like Wike too have been talking about the same thing, that let them do their convention. So this is a way of sending signals to the people running the party that is there something that these people see?
It seems the president has left the party to, as in, he trusts me by Malabuni to handle the party in total. It's not playing any, he's not interfering in anything.
No, they come to him from time to time they can't take big decisions without him. Governors decided that they wanted this tenure extended. They went to the president and then they announced that Malabuni and co can continue. So from time to time they go to the president. Malabuni will go to the president and say, Mr. President, I just got a new catch. I've just signed a new player, and that player is that man with the funny pattern on his head from Cross River. When will you be ready to receive our new signing? And then he will bring the new signing. Resplendent in his oglopotic and all those funny grammar that he throws around. On another occasion, he will come and tell the president, I have just poached a Chelsea player. In any case, I want Chelsea players poached. I've just poached a Chelsea player. And he is the governor of Ebonyi State. Mr. President, when do you want to receive him? When he's done that, he will still come back to the president and say, Mr. President, that man who used to run his mouth abusing you, I've just poached him
to keep him quiet,
so that he can leave you alone, so that you can have your peace.
And he has kept quiet.
And he will say, who is that man? Is it Femi Fadika? You will say, yes, sir. That's the new catch.
So since that time, Fadika
he has buttoned up his mouth. In fact, when he talks now, he's attacked. He will say the enemies of Nigeria, they don't want peace in Zamfara. They don't want peace. People will just be looking at him. Just like my younger brother, Ayeko Oto said, he said, you know that he was very famous on Twitter. If he lies against the president, people will go there to click like everybody. Those people will be happy, the Twitteratists. He said, we know that even if he does not have electoral value, the nuisance that he constitutes by abusing the president, at least we know that that one will end, because the president's aides put together, they cannot tackle him.
They can't stand him.
Given the followership that he has. So I looked at him, I said, this boy, this Akindele man, he actually sat down with an old man. And they taught him wisdom. Because sometimes when he says those things, I will say,
because
I will see value.
If you want to look at it, you now say, what's the essence of Vanika in your party?
No,
he doesn't have electoral value. He's from Ife. He's from Osun State. He can never win his local government. Now I'm saying,
he has explained it. You see, sometimes I share. I will just call him and say, see what is going on, and we will share ideas. Yeah, I feel like now I've seen the reason why he joined. That nuisance value has been totally obliterated, to the joy of people who will have been responding to him. There's nothing to respond to.
Let's see, Charles is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Charles.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, what I want to say in regards to APC and their politics. I know the major problem of APC is Mr. President and his own type of politicking. Like Mr. Ayinde said, the Zamfara, the Rivers State and the other states that were lost during the last election, it was out of his own nonchalant attitude. If we had been Obasanjo, then he would have called all the people, called them just to bring them inside the room. They would just share there, they would just say, well, go and settle. It's done. I don't think there's any actor in any state that the president can call and say, see them together, and tell them what that they will not listen to him.
Thank you, Charles.
For me,
You know, just briefly, now the main kernel of this case is that the judge, knowing that people like Buni, the likes of the governor of the like of the governor of Osun, who are there, you can't sue them.
Yeah.
They have immunity. That's why he's saying that they are not. What's the language I used again? That they use one.
They are not justicious.
That they are not justicious. So it means that you can't sue them. If Supreme Court adopts that position, because as it is now, as long as it is not challenged, it is seen as something regular in law. They remain valid. If the Supreme Court adopts the same position, won't the governor say now that they've said that these guys are not illegal, instead of going into a convention with all the risk, why don't we just leave him like that?
Untouchable.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe it could well be that the thing will end up at Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says these guys are justicious. That means Buni is home and dry.
Considering the rising insecurity ravaging many parts of Nigeria, it will not be out of place to say schools are under siege. A report by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has shown that in 2021, 25 schools in the country were attacked, while 1,440 students were abducted. Meanwhile, 6 suspected bandits, including 2 females, were killed on Saturday night after troops of the Nigerian army repelled an attack on Mariri community on the outskirts of Gusau, capital of Zamfara State. Wali, let's look at this now. That if this compilation, according to UNICEF, has shown that in 2021 alone, 25 schools were attacked, and it affected 1,440 students. It became like a cash cow. These bandits abducting students, getting ransom for their parents directly. At a point in time, the state government left them to their fates, and they were interfacing with the parents. Some they were interfacing with the churches.
It's a very unfortunate report. The UNICEF focus on, it's a global report, talking about the right of children and their involvement in conflict. And it was discovered that most of these violations happen in West Africa and Central Africa, with Nigeria as one of the focal points. Where you have a situation where over 3,500 children, we are talking of people below 18 years, involved in an armed conflict. And it's a very gloomy report, because
children.
Children.
Over 3,000.
3,500 involved in armed conflicts. That's in Central Africa, and also involving Nigeria in Central Africa, West Africa and Central Africa. And in the case of Nigeria, we are talking about 25 schools that were attacked, and also a lot of children that were killed, and some were engaged in conflict. And if you look at the global trend, children are very precious. As far back as 1989, the international leaders met and ratified the UN Convention. It's the most popular convention, ratified by about 296 countries all over the world. Very popular treaty. And Nigeria is also a signatory. And the idea is that children are vulnerable. They are young. They are not just objects. They must be treated as human beings. They must have access to health, access to nutrition, access to grow and to develop themselves, because they are helpless. They need the support of the society. They need the support of the government. So, but in this case now, we have a situation where, according to that report, 35% of children in Nigeria, do not make it to secondary school after primary school. So I think it's a very gloomy report that should give us a lot of concern. 10.5 million children are out of school in Nigeria. So we need to take it up, because these are the people that are supposed to lead this country tomorrow. If they are not given the appropriate opportunities, they are going to grow up to hunt us, to be involved in banditry, to be involved in armed robbery, and to make everyone sleepless. So I hope the government will take this report very serious and look for a decisive response that can deal with the problem.
Looking at these damning reports, now I have a fair idea of, now the level of unemployment, out of school children. Now we now have young lads carrying AK-47 all around, posing as bandits. This is the end product.
Yes.
When we don't engage them.
Boko Haram has done so much damage to our country. When you go to the northeast, I visited an orphanage. I posted the picture. A lot of people, I posted the video. A lot of people wept while they were watching the video. That orphanage, there are 200 children. They are all orphaned by Boko Haram insurgency and banditry in the northwest. There are some of them from Adamawa, some from Zamfara, different states like that. Now, you see a Governor Zulum building mega schools. Zulum alone has built 21 mega schools. Why do they need mega schools? Because there are too many orphans, and those orphans are already out of school. When they say 10.5, I just laugh.
It should be more than that.
There's no way they won't be close to 20 million now, given what we are seeing in Zamfara, given what we are seeing in Kaduna, given what we are seeing in Katsina. A lot of students can't go to school. That is a fact. So the figure of 2013 that we are still banding about,
that's true. It
is a lot higher
when the
now.
atmosphere is not even conducive. Parents cannot even send their children.
It's worse now.
They can't send their children to school. You can't, what?
That one, before that figure came out, there had not been Chibok abduction. After Chibok abduction, there had been others. Children are discouraged from going to school. Their parents too are scared. So, if you didn't have a governor, for example, who thought about setting up mega schools to accommodate the quantum of students, because in one school you will have like 70 classrooms. Those mega schools. There was one in Bulunkutu. You will see how big it is. Now, if you have 70 classrooms, it's because there are too many kids to cater for. And when you see these kids, you will tell yourself, this one school easily be my own children. It is not their fault. They are not the authors of conflict, but they are suffering from it. And why are they going after schools? Because they know that they will get more ransom. Secondly, there will be publicity. No matter how people attack us as pressmen that, they like bad news, bad news make them happy. The truth is, you can't hear that a school has been stormed and innocent children have been picked up, and you will not want to do a story. You have to announce it. You have to make noise about it so that government can do something quickly. So this is the thing. They keep attacking those schools.
Well, ultimately, what can we now do? You know, especially areas that we need massive intervention, like the north.
A whole lot of work that we need to do. It's not a one-dimensional thing. You know, first of all, you need to tackle unemployment. You need to tackle job creation. Then you need to redesign the Almajiri system. Originally, Almajiri is not it's not a bad thing. You know, it's about people going from one place to the other seeking knowledge. But it has been bastardized, as even admitted by the Sultan of Sokoto.
Yes.
You know, it's from the Arabic word mujarin, which means going from one place to the other seeking knowledge. But you know, in those days, they asked them to go from one place to the other to go and look for knowledge. But these days, it has been bastardized because these children are exploited and recruited, you know, for evil purposes. So they need to redefine that system. Then you need to tackle corruption, because when funds that are meant for public welfare are stolen by individuals, there's no way you can provide public utilities. Then the question of drugs. There is too much access to drugs by young people.
That's another problem.
So the NDLA needs a lot of work to do.
Actually, not
Nigeria.
Under Jeremiah, they've been working, but
mercilessly. They are under the influence of drugs.
So
then the family system needs to be redefined. You know, we need to redefine our values that places emphasis on humanity, not just about wealth and power, but about humanity.
Do you know that I was reading one story, something that happened in the UK. Was it UK or the US? Children protested that their parents are placing too much accent on their phones, that they are not looking after them the way they should, that it is phone. That parents, it's happening here. You see Nigerians, they're already crazed by their phones. Even when they tell you
don't know what is happening,
switch off your phone, the next thing is to want to video it.
They will not switch off their phones. They are waiting until they come to them to say switch off their phone. Are you saying that you will die if you do not press this phone in one day? After all, we had a life before
August 2001. We had a life.
So this is the thing. So children protested. These days, many parents don't even go into the bedroom of their children. They don't know what they are going through. They don't check their phones to try to get information about the kind of friends they keep. They leave the teachers to do the bulk of the work. Parents have become more and more irresponsible. They are not focusing on their children. And even the ethical breeding that children need, more and more parents are failing in their responsibility of providing that. So you see a child that you thought was a good child, because you are not paying attention to him, that child had joined the band gang. By the time you realize it, it's already too late for you. Remember the case of the boy who murdered his father. inside redemption camp and cut his father into pieces and put him in a travel bag.
It's quite unfortunate.
So a child that you not expect could go to that length. That is a failure of parental upbringing.
All right. In the most unexpected manner, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have crashed out of the ongoing African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Having won all their group matches and qualified for the second round as table topper, Nigerians expected the team to beat Tunisia, who qualified by virtue of best losers slots after finishing third in their group. But the COVID-19 ravaged Tunisians outsmarted and eliminated Nigeria with 1-0 victory in Garoua. Yesterday, Babajide, I don't know, I was quite expectant, and the first game, second game, as if we were gathering momentum, realizing the fact that, look, it took them very short time to assemble this team, and what we have. Let me allow Emmanuel. What do you make of that game?
I mean, it's not hard to know that everyone is disappointed, especially with the bright start the team had at the competition, where that win over Egypt got everyone to notice them, and they complemented it with wins over Sudan and Guinea-Bissau to qualify. But of course, when you achieve some level of success, especially early into a competition like this, it's like a C finish, because your opponent will now begin to study you, where your strength lies and where they could actually explore. And unfortunately for Nigeria, we served into that pit yesterday, because one, the starting 11 that played yesterday was the same starting 11 that started against Egypt and Sudan, and that gave the Tunisian an opportunity to say, okay, cut out the wing play, shook the middle, and you have the game under control. That was the exact thing they did. We can't take anything away from the boys. A spirited performance, even though it ended in disappointment, but we can still look back and say, yes, we got things wrong in this place and we could fix it ahead of the World Cup qualifying.
No, actually, is this the difference they're talking about? You know, having a foreign technical advisor and a home-based coach? Because if the strategy was to get out the guys in our flanks and they were able to do it, and our coach could not switch to plan B or plan C immediately to salvage the situation.
I was very disappointed. You see, this team, the problem was the attack. There was no cohesion in the attack, and I talked about it on Friday when we were arguing blindly over other issues here. I kept saying it, that I had never seen a Super Eagles team as wasteful as this team. In attack, they are extremely wasteful. Where a player can see another player in good position, give him that pass, do more of one touch football in front of the opponent's D. No, our players will prefer to dribble. And the two wingers, you saw what they were doing yesterday. Even when it was clear that Moses Simon was being double teamed, every time he had the ball, two players would go and narrow him
out
to that towards that line. He continued to play the same way, trying to take them on. Every time he tried to dribble them, they took the ball from him. He didn't change his style. He kept taking them on, and you had a narrow space to operate. They had blocked you. It was the same way. The marking was close. One person will first go to you, and then another person will go and offer support to the person who had gone to you first. Where are you? How are you going to meander your way through them? You are not Messi. Even Messi, despite the fact that he's a fantastic dribbler, is still one of the best passers of the ball in world football. Because it's not every time that dribbling will provide the opening for you. We just didn't realize that. We can praise Sadiq, that Sadiq came in, he showed fighting spirit, but it was still not team play. He was trying to dribble them just the way others were doing. You need to play, you need to have teamwork. You may have all the talent in the world. If you don't have teamwork, you will never win. I've seen Israel, not respected in world football, defeat France, coached by Platini.
We saw Greece at the Euros in 2004.
They eliminated France from the World Cup. We see that happen. Greece, that was not even supposed to be at a tournament, won it. We also saw Denmark that did not qualify for Euros until Yugoslavia was banned. Come to win the tournament. So the fact that you did well in the group stages, they should have looked at some of the mistakes that they made in those group games and worked on them. But that was not what we saw.
Was the time too short for Augustine Eguavoen to do a kind of SWOT analysis on these guys?
Well,
to check their strengths, their weaknesses?
We must credit Eguavoen at least for taking up the responsibility after General was fired. But I think the success they achieved early, just like Babajide rightly pointed out, they did not do a review of what they did right and what they should improve on, and it cost them dearly against the Tunisians. So the Tunisians came into that game knowing that they had nothing to prove. They finished as one of the best third place team. They were not the big team. A lot of was expected from Nigeria, and then they came into the game, stuck to their plans. Even they played the card of saying they had many of their team members down with COVID-19. But what we saw yesterday was more of their first team in action, because you have a Misakni, you have a Kabi Waziri, you have all the key guys still playing. So I think the lesson here.
Let me pause you there. We'll just take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. We're still on the Super Eagles adventure in Cameroon. This is Journalist Hangout, and we are looking at the ongoing Nations Cup. Super Eagles out. I'm not going to watch the tournament. Yes, I'm not interested in watching any other club apart from the Super Eagles. Now, when we're looking at the time frame Coach Augustine Eguavoen had with these guys and how he was able to understand them and his selection.
Well, time is not really the issue, because this is a crop of players who have been playing together for about 4 or 5 years under General, save for maybe 1 or 2 other players who came in to join the team. Yes, the absence of key players like Victor Osimhen, maybe to an extent Odion Igalo, although Odion has been out of the team for a while, but of course his leadership and experience would have been very, very crucial for this team at this tournament. But against Tunisia, I think 3 factors that Babajide pointed out, which I would just want to mention again as the key issues. Number one, overconfidence on the part of Nigeria. Nigeria are bullish in that game, losing opportunities when they know that this is the knockout stages. There won't be any case for adjustments again. Number two, the tactical point of view from the bench. The manager should have twitched things a bit earlier when he saw that the Tunisians were playing the card that we were already known for. And number three, I have my issues with Wilfred Ndidi, surprisingly. Wilfred Ndidi is, at least, I don't like to pick out players, especially in issues like this, because I know that Wilfred Ndidi is one of our world-class players. And as much as I respect him so much, I look forward to him becoming one of the biggest midfielders in the world. He had some close-range opportunities to shoot point-blank shots, and his efforts to me were just below par. I mean, this is something that the likes of Sunday Ulisse were known for across the world. I mean, look at what
Sunday Ulisse against Nigeria. Spain.
I mean, it shows that some of our players must take their game to the next level. It's not just being a local hero. Yes, we appreciate them when they do well, but they should understand that football has gone global, and they should step up their game when it matters the most.
Babajide, where are we going from here? World Cup qualifiers, and we have a new coach, and Augustine Eguavoen is still there. And particularly this team, what can be done to make sure that they perform better?
If we have a good coach, this is still the most star-studded team in Africa. Yes, I can defend it. We have the best players in Africa currently. World-class player. When it comes to enforcers in the English game, I think after N'Golo Kante, the next is Ndidi. And we all know that he is very good at what he does, but he has never been a good shooter. I think since I've been watching him for Leicester, I've only seen 1 goal scored by him. His own job is to stop people from scoring. So my hope was not on him. But I felt that even yesterday, Haribo was playing too deep. We have taken the match to them a lot more, and we should have been going for precise passes to penetrate the opponent's defense. But we rely too much on those wingers. When we were not going to them, you will see Troost Ekong loading the ball sending the ball high into the opponent's area. The whole way Nigeria used to play. Of course, their central defenders dealt with it. So, with a good coach, he will be able to get the best out of this team. You can't have the Osimhens of this world. You can't have Emmanuel Dennis and say that you don't have good players. You can, and that defense is solid. The central midfield too is solid. We lost the match in attack. In one-on-one situations, they hardly beat our players. We were solid. And just as Akin said, from the first half, he should have made changes. Because it was clear, their strategy was clear to us. But we continue to play the same way. Now, I heard our coach saying that, that the Tunisians were tactical. He used that word to describe them as tactical. That's a massive shame. That's over-complimenting a team that lost 2 of his 3 matches. If the Tunisians...
1 point.
Yeah, they
lost to the best losers.
They actually lost to Gambia by the whisker. They lost to Gambia, lost to Mali.
So you are saying they were very tactical.
There was no tactical superiority from their side. It was just ineptitude on our own part not to control them.
And we were lucky.
They actually even respected us in the early stages, sitting back, allowing us, and that is when we should have taken the game to them. And just like Akpanudoedehe rightly pointed out, the strikers were lethargic.
Do you have our goalkeeper?
Well, look.
He saved us. They could have beaten us 3-0.
He could have
saved us blank shots.
Look, Maduka had his bad moment. It was a very embarrassing moment for him to have conceded that goal. But I wouldn't bring out all the stakes to the young man. It happens in football. But the strikers had the responsibility to respond. The goal was scored quite early in the second half, maybe in the 47th or 48th minute. So we had about 39 minutes to bring back the game. And we had the chances. Moses Simon saw a cross that came in and had chance. You still want to control.
When he should have volleyed it into the net.
They were almost facing the net. So there were some times when their decision making was poor. And I hope Joseph Pissarro is going to take over because Eguavoin, as announced, is stepping back into the technical director role. Joseph Pissarro has a responsibility of inspiring confidence, inspiring discipline in this team, and letting them know that football has gone from this recreational style of football. I think the Super Eagles are still playing this recreational style of football at what we call set, that we play in local balance. You need to understand that football is business. Every second counts, and every move you make, like Babajide already pointed out, every movement of the ball matters at every point in time. You can't be affording to lose possession at any point in time. You can't afford to be losing chances and expect another one is going to come.
Even the last match that we won, if you see how many chances we wasted, that attack. So I've been worried. If you watched issues with Jide on Saturday, I was really worried about this match. And I was saying, the way we play, the day we meet a team that is more mature than the ones that we had played. Because, in my view, probably we played Egypt on a bad day. Egypt, yes, Africa's most successful at this level. But it may well have been their bad day because we were really flattered by our performance. Honestly. And it got into our heads. All the politicians, everybody, they were calling the players, they were promising them money. We need to stop this nonsense of promising players money before a game. The big football nations don't do it. When they finish winning, you can give them gifts.
You can appreciate them.
You can appreciate them.
Not
give them
trying
gifts.
to induce them.
Westerhoff said it that the moment we qualify for the second round of the World Cup, that the players could not sleep again. People jam-pack the hotel, all kinds of promises and all that. Players, when they have a big match, they need to rest and focus on the game.
Okay, I have Stanley. Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Ayo,
Yes.
I commend you for your analysis.
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm not happy we crashed out of the competition. I think our points are not good enough. They will say they've done their best. My namesake gave the goal to them, the keeper, Okoye.
Okay.
If you are to ask somebody like
we have to go. Thank you. We have to go. Walk up.
I think it was even like he was caught flat-footed, as if he was not ready. Because he had positioned like somebody wanted to take a back pass.
Emmanuel Akinduwa.
Well, we have to go. Disappointment will still continue for a while, but of course we need to brace up and approach the World Cup qualifiers, which were the playoffs rather, which were held in March, and we played our fiercest rivals.
Ghana does not need to play well to beat Nigeria.
And that's where it gets tricky, because Ghana also had a disappointing tournament.
All right.
So a whole lot is at stake there.
And that's our offering today. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Well, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubakun. Bye for now.